In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a frequency chart. First thing I'm going to do is actually show you the data that we're going to be working with. I have a lot of data that's on my left-hand side, but you could have different ones. If I look at serial, double click on it, it shows me the serial. Now notice at the top of each of these columns, you have the label or the variable name. Some of these, like manufacturer, are qualitative variables and some of them are quantitative. Now, I'm not going to get into ascending and descending order, but you can use that. And this shows you that I could use manufacturer, the shelf, I could scroll over, and that's it for this, or the serial name for the qualitative variables. And if I wanted to do quantitative, I could use any of the other variables. Now it's important to pick a data set that has information that you can use for the frequency chart. So I'm going to minimize data. I'll leave this tab open. To do frequency chart, I'm going to go to Analytics, Analyze, and come down to Tabulation. Now I just used different terminology, but categorical means the qualitative and numerical is the quantitative. Let's do categorical first. When you get to the new prompt, there's select a data set. I'm going to select the serial again because it's the data set that I already showed you, and I'll pick a factor. Now, I'm going to do manufacturer. You could pick more than one if you want to and have them compared to each other, okay? But it's only going to show you the categorical or the qualitative variables under this. To do the other one, we would have to pick numerical. Now you can do counts or proportions. And if I hit the eyeball under manufacturer, it's going to tell me that these are the 5 manufacturers, and this is the frequency of each of them appearing in the data set. Then if I went to look back at serial and we're doing manufacturer, I'm going to put them in order, okay? So there's General Mills. If I look at General Mills 26, there should be 26 General Mills here, and I see that I go from 1 to 26, so there are 26 General Mills in the frequency chart and in the data. Okay, I can change it. Remember I said I could do a different factor, so I could do shelf. I can do the eyeball. So now it's going to show me them as a contingency table, where it's going to do both of them and it splits it up. Let me take out the shelf, or just say none. Get over to that. Okay, I could do proportions instead of counts. And now this is going to give me the relative frequency. If I did percentages and counts and proportions, it will give me all of them in separate frequency charts. So now we have frequency, and percent. Relative frequency and percents are the same values. We've just moved the decimal twice to the right. Now that was categorical. Let's look at numerical. Now, we're going to select the serial data set again. Obviously, this serial data set you can find in the Rguroo repositories under Rguroo Users Guide and then serial. We're going to pick a variable. Now, like I said before, these are all the variables that you have. So let's say total carbohydrates. We can label it here, carbs, counts, proportions, cumulative. We hit the eyeball, and it's going to show me the counts. Now, notice right here, let me get a drawing function for a moment. Okay, notice right here, it has the notation. So the bracket 20 means that 20 is included in the value. And then 25 has parentheses, which means it gets almost to 25. So it gets to 24.9. and then 20. Okay, so 20 would be included in it. It would go almost to 25, because now notice when you get down to the next one, 25 is included in the next set. Now, I can alter some things if I hit basic again. Oh, sorry, let me erase. You can play around and you can select proportions, okay? You can select cumulative. You can change where it begins. So say that I want it to begin at 30. I only want that much and I want a width of 2, okay? Now look, it starts at 30 and it has a width of 2. So I can change my class bins. I can tell you where I want it. So this includes the left endpoint we showed you before. If I instead wanted to include the right endpoint, I would change to that. And it changes the notation on this right-hand side. Now 32 is included because we're including the right endpoint. Number, let's say I only want 5 bins. Well, I put in 5 and it does the math for me, and it goes ahead and calculates what my class width needs to be for me to have 5 bins. Then I can look at my frequency, my relative frequency, and my percents. Well, when in doubt, check the basic, play around with it. It doesn't matter if you click something, you can always unclick it at the end. You can always change back. You could even X out of the entire thing. Now, if I wanted to save this, I could say carbs for cereal. And if I save it, it gets put into this reports, and then it'll stay there for me to come back and look at. Why is this important? Well, say you're doing a project and you want to be able to come back to each of the graphs or plots you've already previously made. You can use it and put them in there. And then when you're done with it, you can get rid of it. Okay. So then you can just hit delete and it'll get rid of stuff. Okay. Here, right click, delete. Sorry. Oh, because the tab is open. So I'm going to close the tab and then I will delete. Delete it all permanently? Yes. So if you don't want anything in your reports, say you didn't like the one that you saved, you just delete it with the right click and pick delete, or you can use the top, make sure you've already exited out of the details or the basic tab.